Hi everybody, this is Robbie from Southern California, and this is the video today on growing lettuce. Lettuce is so easy to grow. As long as you know just a few key things, you can grow lettuce like this, a romaine lettuce, on your windowsill if you've got a sunny window. That is in a food container. It's an old ice cream container. Or you could grow it outside. Couple tips on growing lettuce. Lettuce needs lots of water. If you can remember that, you're already good to go. The next thing is the soil does need to drain well. So when you're using a food container such as this, you can put the holes just above the bottom or on the bottom. But the main thing for this is never let the container dry. If the container with your lettuce completely dries out, even once, even though your lettuce will be alive and look great, it will immediately go into bolting, which means the plant was sent a signal to start to develop seeds. And that's when it will bolt. You won't have the beautiful big leaves, and it will start to develop seeds to reproduce because the plant thinks drought is setting in, not enough water, and it is time to start to recreate some seeds. If you can remember that, you will be good to go. The other few things are, don't overcrowd your lettuce. When you're planting them in a container, plant just one or two. See the little one here? It didn't grow, but this one grew beautiful. You don't want to overcrowd your lettuce. So in a container like this, really one is enough. A soda bottle, a 1 liter soda bottle is even better than that because they love to make the roots go down. They like a lot of space to go straight down. And if you have got a 5-gallon bucket and you put one lettuce plant in a 5-gallon bucket, you will get massive lettuce, big lettuce. The leaves will be tall and big. Otherwise, a shorter container tends to grow them shorter and more round, which is perfectly fine for me. Let's go out in the garden and let me show you exactly how easy it is to take the lettuce seeds, just sprinkle them in, let it grow, and once they start to grow, you can separate the ones you want and you can plant them so easy because they transplant as tiny baby plants really, really easy. But if you wait too long, you can't do it. So let's go in the garden and I'll show you how I've been growing lettuce all over the place and setting them up in food containers I've got here, milk jugs, water containers, soda pop bottles, ice cream containers, whatever containers I've got will grow lettuce. Let's go out in the garden. So here in this tote, you can see I've got hundreds of baby lettuce or more. This is all baby lettuce and I've got them growing in this storage container tote as well. See the little ones? I had lettuce growing in these containers and they went to seed, and of course I actually dropped some seeds in here. Well, let me talk about when is the best time to move them to set them up so you can grow lettuce. This is the perfect size. See how small they are? Absolutely perfect. Now, as they sit here in these containers, even that one, see the ones that are off to the side are starting to get bigger, but the ones that are in a big group and they're clumped up together, well, their growth is kind of stunted because, well, by nature, they know there's too many, so they stay on the small side and they're not going to get really big growing in this situation because normally it would be growing on the ground. And on the ground, you'd have a lot of insects, birds, things would take them out. A lot of them would die back into the ground, return to the soil, and then the strongest then would survive and grow. But in this situation, we have gone against nature and we have too many. But this works perfect for me because now I can pick and choose any of these I want. So all of these, including here, are really a good size. And let me show you this. Here's one here. I will actually sacrifice this one and pull it out. This one, see how it's got kind of long here? See if you can see the stem is kind of long? This one is almost too late to transplant. What will happen with this probably, now you can try them. If you've got them at this stage, most certainly try them if you don't have smaller. But a lot of times these will just bolt. They'll get longer and longer. That little trunk there will just get longer and they'll end up trying to produce seed because this one is basically stressed. And when a plant starts to stress and thinks it's at the end of life, there's no room for it to grow, it wants to produce seed. That's going back to nature. So I would say with all these here, this one I would not transplant. Now, if this was the only one I had, or I only had a few, I would definitely do it. But when you start getting this size, with this long trunk there, that long stem, at that point, those are the ones I would skip, and I would go with the smaller one. Let's go get a container that I'm going to plant in, filled with some soil, and I'll show you how I have been planting lettuce, and it's been successful for me. We'll compost this. Or we could take it in and eat it. Maybe I'll eat it now. Oh my gosh, so good. So I've got all these storage containers, these totes that are really died back for the winter. And I'm gonna pick the one that has nothing growing in it right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of this soil because this had all that matter I put in there, the leaves, the kitchen scraps, everything went in there. I'm gonna use this to set up a container to grow some lettuce. So let's get this going here. I'm gonna try to do this with the camera. Let me switch hands. I'm right-handed, very right-handed. And I'm gonna start filling this up and just using potting soil. Well, it's not potting soil, it's my own soil. Wait a minute, what the heck? There's nothing, wait, no, this can't be. Wait a minute, that smells like pine. Wait. Okay, you're gonna do this to me because I don't know what's going on. There's the holes here. I've got holes here. That looks good. Let me look on the other side because I put the holes up higher. See the holes are up higher? Let me see what's going on here. I don't know what's going on, but there shouldn't be roots in. Oh my gosh. Look at what happened. And this is why here I put the holes up higher. I've got a hole down here. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm gonna lift it. Look at this. I'm gonna use a shovel because I can't lift this. Look at this. Let me show you here. Sorry. Do you see this? This got covered, my hole. This right here is a tree root. Oh, wonder why maybe this is why this tote died. I'm gonna have to chop it out. That's a tree root that managed to get into the tote because that hole was towards the bottom and it got covered with wood chips and soil. And one of these trees, and I'm going to say it could be that pine tree there, found my container. Oh my goodness. And went into the container. This is why I container garden. This was not supposed to be on roots and trees. This was supposed to be on lettuce today. This is why I have to container garden because a lot of these trees that are around here will rob water from my plants. So by planting in the containers, isn't that something? That one has nothing growing, the other ones do. So this is why, it's a good education for me because I didn't realize that happened. But this is why I try to keep the holes higher and make sure the soil doesn't touch the holes. Now it's fine, it's a container, I'm just gonna cut it. That's goodbye root. The tree will have to go somewhere else for its water, hopefully underneath, so whatever water runs out, it can have. But in the meantime, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again, because as you can see, I still have squash and tomatoes growing there, and I've got a moringa here, but that one died back first, which means it might have lost a lot of nutrients, as well as water being robbed from the squash that was in there earlier. But that is a root. That is amazing. I'm going to try to do this again. I hope I'm not shaking you around too much. I want you to see this because I didn't even know this was here. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is a tree root. And it tried to get in on this side as well, but that one is quite small. But this one, look at the size. And this is what blocks up, okay? This is what blocks up a lot of our holes. And then we think, well, why is our container not running out? Because they make a beautiful round root. They go straight inside the hole and then they block it. And they're doing this to get water. And then of course they add, by blocking the holes, there's more water in there. So they could just take all the water they want. So anyways, in the meantime, there's nothing growing in there. So I'm just going to continue to take the soil. It will be fine. And we're going to get some lettuce planted. And be aware, when spring comes, that I'm not going to let that tree do that again to me. I think we've got plenty here. This is a good start. Oop. I'm going to leave the earthworms. And we don't need any pincher bugs. In fact, I'll throw him out. Now this is not coming in the house, so it doesn't matter if there's some things in there. And I can still grab some leaves. It doesn't matter what kind of leaves. I can still grab leaves like if I was in the garden, and I can still push leaves underneath the soil to add some nutrients too. We could do that later. So let's go get some lettuce planted. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to water this really good. So this way all the soil I put in there will settle, and I won't have to do much but just pop in lettuce. Now with such a small container, this is an ice cream container, it's not real tall as you can see. Now lettuce would actually like something taller, but I think I've got 100 of these. I don't know how much ice cream Gary went through. He loves this ice cream, but I love the container, so it works out good. But the thing is, it will work, and I'll show you how well it works. It works great, but a taller container, even a soda pop bottle, cut the top off, you can grow lettuce in that, because the lettuce likes to send long roots down. But this will work, and this is what I'm going to show you. It doesn't matter what container you use, just how you get the small lettuce planted. Now let's get some lettuce planted. Now if you want, you can always add in some fresh potting soil on the top. If you feel you want to have a little bit of something different that isn't used, used soil is fine. Nature uses used soil all the time. But if you want, you can add in a little potting soil just for the top layer. I do that with a lot of my containers, not always. It's always different. And now let's show how to get a lettuce in. I'm going to have you see how I get a lettuce out. We're going to work on a small lettuce. Now with a container this size, I would just put in really one. Now I can put in two lettuce and then let the longest one survive. But this is how easy it is. See the lettuce here? These are good size. Here's a perfect little one. Look how nice and straight that is. You're just going to go in, move away everything else. Let's see. I want to find a nice straight lettuce. Here's a nice one. Let's see if I can see it in the camera. Yeah. You're just going to reach in. Go in. I use spoons. Look at that. Now this one does have a little bit of a stem, but I think we're okay. You can take off the little yellow leaf. Excuse my hands, they're dirty. And I think I'm going to put two of them in here. So I can just move it over, put the roots a little bit sideways there, and pat in. And then, being that he's got a little bit of a stem on him, I might try another one. Let's grab a couple of these out and go through. We have so many here in clumps. Oh, I like that one the best. You know what? I'm going to take him out. He's screaming. And I'm going to move this over and put this one in the middle. I really like this one. It's not too big. See how the stem is shorter and how nice and straight it is? This one should not bolt, and I should get some really good lettuce. Look at the beautiful root system on that. This is the perfect size to move them. When they start to get lengthy, you know, and long and lanky, is that the word I'm looking for, lanky? When they start to look like that, they tend to want to bolt, and at that point, no. Now, if I want to, I have so many. I could put another one in there just in case this doesn't make it, or I could keep a really good eye on it and come back later and decide if I want to add in more and use this for something else. I've got a couple more containers here. Here is a soda pop container. Look at this. Now this is perfect. See how tall this one is? This is a larger container. Now, you don't have to go to the top. I'm going to add in a little bit of potting soil. Just some fresh potting soil on the top here. And now I'm going to plant a lettuce in here. Okay, there's so many of them. I'll probably push the rest of them back in and decide later what I'm going to do. But look at all these. Look how beautiful they are. They transplant at this size perfectly. Look how they come apart. So beautiful. Now, when you wait too long, then it's harder to transplant. They go into shock. But look how they come apart when they're little like this. Look how beautiful and straight that one is. That one's going to transplant beautiful. So now I take my spoon. I love using teaspoons. And I might do something here. Hold on. What am I doing? I think I'm going to put water in that hole that I just made. Now this way, I know I've got water already in there. And it's just a matter of getting this lettuce in. Get the roots really in there. I'm hoping you can see. You can. Just get them in there and then cover up those roots really good. And make sure you press it. Now the reason you want to press it is you want to make sure there's no air pockets. If you just stick it in there and there's too much air around the roots, it will air prune. It will actually die, and you'll wonder, why did it die? Well, you may not have had the roots all in contact with the soil. This is perfect. Now let me show you something else. See how I left space here? I've now created a slight greenhouse. This lettuce is going to love this bottle. Just love it. It's going to be protected from any wind if I've got it outside. It's going to be a little bit warmer and when it gets cold, but it's going to have plenty of sunlight. And look how gorgeous that is. This is what you can do with soda pop bottles. And that is it. And you know what? I have one more to show. Let's do one more. I'm going to squish some of my lettuce here. Okay, this is a water container, 1 gallon water container. Same thing. If I want, I can add in some potting soil, just a little bit. Mix it around. All these containers are beautiful to grow lettuce in. The only thing you've got to remember, I can add in some water to this too, just to get started in the hole that I made for the lettuce. You've got to remember that if I added in a whole bunch, then they'll slow the growth down, because I believe that it gives something off so they know that there's more than one in there. You're not going to end up with 10 beautiful big lettuce. It won't work. So what you could do is, if I wanted to, this is a big one, is I could put 2. So I could put 1 here and see how that goes. And, you know, you can experiment. Don't put too many unless you're prepared to remove the ones that aren't growing as good. And you can pick. But let's go ahead. This is a gallon jug. And let's pick another one out. Let's see. This one looks good. It's not real big, but look how nice it is. We'll put 2 of them in here. And we'll see what happens. We'll just see what happens. And if they both look like they're doing fine, and I don't mind having short lettuce because they won't get as big a lot of times, that's perfectly fine. The lettuce is still perfectly fine to eat. Now I've got 2 lettuce in a 1 gallon jug. I've cut the top off, but I've left the handle so I can move it around. Now let me warn you, this is a food container, but here's the thing. These clear plastic, especially the water bottles, break down quicker than soda bottles. They will break down from the sun. So be prepared. If you feel that's not flexing, but it's actually starting to crack, it's time to get your plants out of there, your soil out of there. As soon as your plant's done, get it out and throw it in the recycle bin and get rid of it, or throw it in the trash. Keep the soil. Dump the soil on the ground somewhere where you can go back and get it. But once these start to go, get rid of them. This is not the perfect thing to grow in, but it's great to grow in. If you've got food containers, why not use them? Even go with the real tiny ones. These little ones, let me show you how, look at this. Look how easy they pull out of the soil. And look at the root system. Look at the root system there. They pull out really, really easy. It doesn't matter that his root is sideways. You would plant it just like this, and you will end up with a beautiful lettuce. So try to go with the smaller ones. If they're too big, skip those. And for now, I want to put him back because he looked happy where he was. So I hope I've given you an idea on lettuce. And if you want them really big, I've got one growing in a 5 gallon bucket, and I've been harvesting that one lettuce growing in there for the past month, over a month. I take the leaves off, and I even use them for a wrap because it's got a whole 5 gallon bucket to itself, and it's doing fantastic. With that, have a wonderful day. Grow some lettuce, and once you start, let some of it go to seed, keep the seeds, and keep on going. And I haven't had to buy lettuce seeds in years. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody.